Well, welcome everybody. I'm want to welcome everybody to the All Dads on Deck session of the PWSA USA conference. I'm excited to be here and introduce our presenter for today. First, just want to introduce myself quickly. My name is Brian Kolasick. I am a father of 4 kids. My youngest son, Paxton, who is about 4.5, has Prader-Willi syndrome. Certainly excited about everything today. A couple housekeeping items I just wanted to touch on first. A reminder that this is just a session for dads, so dads only. This is our special place. We are recording this session. Clint has generously offered if there's any sort of confidential type questions that you don't feel comfortable asking here, I'm gonna, at some point here, I'll throw up his email and his phone in the chat, and he said he would welcome you reaching out to him directly with those types of questions, so that we're able to record this and just everybody's aware of that. Feel free to ask questions as well. So we're going to try to save questions towards the end. There's 2 ways that you can do that. One is through the chat, which I'll have up and be watching. The other is you can unmute yourself. So everybody is muted at this point, but you can unmute yourself and ask questions as well at the end. And we'll try to save 10 minutes or so at the end to make sure we get to questions. We do ask too that you can turn your camera on, especially if you're asking a question, because the intent of this is to be collaborative as possible in a virtual environment. So seeing people's faces is always beneficial, I believe, too. So with that, I want to provide an intro to Clint and give a little bit of his background and history. Clint has spent the last 45 seasons in professional baseball, where he has won a total of 1,269 games as a manager between the Colorado Rockies and Pittsburgh Pirates. The 1,269 wins ranks 38th all-time in managerial history. Under his guidance with the Rockies, he led the team to its first ever World Series appearance in 2007, as the club captured its first National League championship in franchise history. On November 15, 2010, he was appointed as the 39th manager in Pittsburgh Pirates history, where he helped rebond and reconnect the city of Pittsburgh with a team that went on to make 3 straight postseason appearances from 2013 to 2015. With his tenure with the Pirates, he was named the 2013 National League Manager of the Year, while winning a total of 735 games, which ranks 4th on the club's all-time managerial wins list. Hurdle was selected 9th overall in the 1975 June draft by the Kansas City Royals, Gil Royals. Just 2 years later, at the age of 20, he made his major league debut with the Royals on September 18, 1977. He has demonstrated his passion to make a difference in the communities he and his family have been a part of in Denver and Pittsburgh through his time in charity and supporting many causes, including as the national spokesperson for the Prader-Willi Syndrome Association USA. Hurdle makes his home in Florida with his wife, Carla, and is the proud father of his 3 children, Ashley, Madison, and Christian. And with that, Clint, I'll throw it over to you to get started. Thank you.
Brian, thank you. Am I coming across loud and clear?
You're good. I can hear you.
All right.
See ya.
Well, good morning, I guess. Good afternoon to some of you. Good morning, probably, to some of you. Happy to be here today. Humbled to be here today. Very unique topic and a wonderful opportunity for us dads to spend some time together. For us dads to hopefully learn a little bit. I've learned a lot in the last 18 years from a lot of other fathers. I've learned from a lot of other mothers. I think one of the biggest things I've learned is that I don't have all the answers. And I do need to continually to keep an open mind on searching for best practices, different measures, different ways to figure our way across the room with Madison. And to know that I'm not alone. And there are other men out there in this, I call it a fraternity. I never went to college. This is kind of my fraternity. Not one I wanted to sign up for, but man, I am in it now. And there's no getting out, no wanting to get out. And Brian, I encourage you as a young father of a 4.5-year-old man. It gets better, it gets harder, then it gets better, then it gets harder, then it gets better. It's life at the speed of life. So we're going to have some fun today. I want to share truth with you today. I'm just going to share my experience, strength, and hope, mostly with you all today. And it's from a limited perspective, guys. I've got 18 years of experience. That's not the most probably on this call by any means. I know men in our Prader-Willi community that have children older than Maddie. And I've leaned into them and I've leaned on them for support and guidance and conversation from time to time. It's truly been one of my biggest blessings to know there's people who've gone ahead of us and had to go through the situations we're going through, and they just share what worked for them. They also share what didn't work for them, which sometimes can even be more encouraging. There's no perfect way to do this. There's days that you're going to be pivoting multiple times. I think just being open-minded is a great place to start. Little family background for those of you that were with me this morning for the keynote. I apologize. I'm going to give the Cliff Note versions on the family background. Just so you know, my first disclaimer is I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a counselor. I'm a friend. I'm a flawed man. I've made my fair share of mistakes. I've figured some things out. There's some things I still need to figure out. I've been married 3 times. And I don't say that proudly. I'm just giving you some background information. So some of you guys are already going, hey, that guy's way more jacked up than I am. I got a shot here. I've been married 3 times. My wife's smarter than me. She's only been married once. We've been married 21 years. I'm a recovering alcoholic. So if there's anybody else out there, see, I got that in common with somebody. If not, I'm a unicorn again. 22 years sober. Prader-Willi wasn't going to get me to relapse. Prader-Willi syndrome wasn't going to make me go pick up a drink again. I had caused enough collateral damage and challenges throughout my lifetime. By the time I decided to stop, I'm not going back. And I know one of the slogans of our program is just, don't drink today and one day at a time. You know what's kind of crazy about Prader-Willi syndrome? I can see a few faces on here right now. One day at a time works for Prader-Willi syndrome too. Just get today. Get today right the best you can. We'll worry about tomorrow. We'll learn from yesterday, but let's make the most of today. As far as employment, for the last 45 years, I've been engaged in the world of baseball, minor league baseball, big league baseball. I managed for 17 years, played for 10 at the major league level, coached for another 6, so over 30 years of major league experience. With that, I've been fired 3 times. So maybe that's more times than anybody else has been fired out there watching today. I've got fired 3 times. When I get fired, it's kind of public. And it's humbling. It still is. And what's been crazy about each time I've been fired, I got a better job the next time. I'm not saying everybody gets that, but for me, whatever reason, I got a better job the next time. This last firing, I still had 2 years on a contract, which you don't think that's being shown favor. Anybody else ever been paid to not work? First time in my life I ever been paid to not work. It's good. Trust me, it's good. I'm good with it. It's not something I think I'm going to be able to last forever. It's not something I would actively hunt. But I didn't plan my retirement. Maddie loves to tell people when I say I'm retired, she goes, Dad, you got fired, then you retired. Maddie has no filter. So I don't know if any of you else have your children. Maddie has no filter. Maddie has an innocence about her that's engaging and an innocence about her that can make you cringe. We had a hot stove event, a big fundraiser that we've hosted for many years to raise money for Prader-Willi syndrome and family support. During the meeting, the MC of the Pirates got up and asked Maddie, hey, what was that you were telling me, that you still got a bone to pick with somebody or something? She goes, yeah, I'm mad at Bob Nutting, the owner of the Pirates, for firing my dad. We're virtual live streaming this thing all over the world, let alone to Pittsburgh, let alone to my friends in the Pirates organization. And my daughter goes up there and lays one on Bob, the owner. Bob and I are friends. Bob and I mean, we've known each other a long time. And when I got up to take my turn, I said, for those of you that know Maddie, you know she has no filter. For those of you that don't know Maddie, she has no filter. What Maddie meant to say was, we were happily employed for 9 years. We're thankful and grateful for all the time. I turned into the political spin on it to make everything right with everybody back there, but to try and bring some levity to the situation. 18 years, the last 18 years of Maddie's life, and that's what I'm kind of here to share. That's my experience. I've been involved in sports and leadership and encouragement for people, mostly men, whether it be in nonprofits, whether it be in other charitable organizations, whether it be in leadership groups, C-level groups. But I've been out in the community and I've been trying to lock arms with men. I've been trying to share encouragement with men. My goal today is to share encouragement for us with one another in our community, our Prader-Willi community. I can remember when Maddie was born 18 years ago, like it was yesterday. And my first thought was, I got a call from my wife. I was at the park and we need you at the hospital. The doctors performed the fish test yesterday. They've got a diagnosis. You got to come in, and we got to get caught up on what's going on. I leave the park, drive to the hospital, get met by Carl out front, and then we take that walk like you see in movies down a long corridor, and all you can hear is the clicking of heels. And the doctor opens a door, and we go into an office. It's very sterile. It's an empty office. It's got 4 chairs. 3 of them are occupied now. Doctors Arlingo, Carl, and I. And she looks us right in the eye. She goes, guys, I'm here to tell you that the 13th test we performed on Maddie, we finally have a diagnosis. We were, I think for a moment, we were happy. For 2 weeks, they had given her 12 different tests and taken blood 12 different times. And her arms were bruised and we were worn up and worn out. We were starting to get angry about the test and nothing coming back, nothing. And Maddie wasn't like in a bad way as far as we knew, although it was our first child. She was somewhat unresponsive. She was a little yellow. It looked like jaundice. It just looked like, some of the things that normal babies will have. And the doctor kept testing. She just said, I got a feeling that there's something here that I need to find. There's something there we need to find. And she wouldn't stop. The 13th test was the fish test. That was the one that Maddie aced. And Dr. Arlingo held both our hands, looked us in the eyes. She goes, I want to tell you your daughter was born with a birth defect. And I can remember then that my world stopped. I didn't hear anything, I don't think, for probably 30 seconds. I actually had to have the doctor, I finally just said, okay, stop. We got to go back. I heard nothing after Maddie has a birth defect. I apologize. I heard nothing. And my wife was clenching my hand, and we've all been there. It's the hardest moment that you have, or at least the hardest one we had at that time. And Prader, what? That was my first response. This lady had bedside charm, and man, this lady was an angel. And all I can remember is going all guy on her, going, Prader, what? What are you talking about? I've never heard of that. And she goes, well, Clint, it's a deletion of the 15th chromosome. You guys here know the drill. It's satiation, gross motor skills. She goes, I'm just going to give you the cliff notes. I'm going to encourage you to stay off the internet. We found a local chapter. There's people you should talk to that are in the game now that have children, different ages. We're going to get you over to Children's with a specialist, an endocrinologist. My second question was, endo what? Prader what? Endo what? People are hitting me with, I got a high school education, guys. I never went to college. I'm not that smart. I'm getting hit with terms and names and stuff. It makes no sense to me. Well, what can you compare it to? Well, it's not really nothing. It's these kids are never full. What? I mean, that's all that could, I'm the leader of a baseball team. I'm the focus of an organization, and all I can say is what? And she walked us through it in layman's terms. And I can remember she leaving, and my wife and I just held each other, and Carla cried. I was too numb to cry. Carla cried. And I gave her some time to cry. It was like, okay, what's next? She goes, well, let's go see Maddie. So from that point on, basically, it was let's go see Maddie. And we had no clue. We hit pause. I didn't go to the park that night. I stayed home. we just kind of held on to each other. Maddie ended up spending another 2 weeks in NICU. Got to the point where there was a night where they said, if she doesn't take the bottle tonight, we're going to vent her. We're going to tube her. We went in that night, and we had a NICU nurse, was another angel without wings, taking care of Maddie at night. She goes, I got the golden bottle. She goes, this is the red pen. We're going bowling tonight. We're going to hit the red pen. I'm like, well, if we don't, you know what happens? She goes, we're going to hit the red pen. Here we go. She gave Maddie the bottle that night. Maddie never put that bottle in her mouth for 2 weeks. She put the bottle in her mouth. She took the bottle. We didn't have to intubate her. We didn't have to tube her. It was almost like the first ray of sunshine that came our way. And that was good news. But the whole thing was like, are you kidding me? For me, I was putting on a good face with Carla. I was holding my wife, letting her feel emotionally what she needed to feel for. And she's not a baby. My wife's the toughest person in my life. But she was feeling, I can't imagine what mothers feel. You carry a child, you deliver a child, and then you get the diagnosis. And it just hit me out of nowhere. I need to put some big boy pants on. This is not about me. I've had to have some hard conversations with people in life on the other end, people that have lost people. I was a big manager of a team. I lead men. I've been doing it for a while. Reporters would come to me, ask tough questions. Oh, it's a tough loss. I said, a tough loss is not a game. Tough loss is when you lose your mom or lose your dad. I had this introspective wisdom that I would share and tried to go Phil Jackson on everybody, with karma and all this stuff. And for the first time in my life, I was in a spot where I was uncomfortable. I didn't have answers. And I was trying to still be cool, calm, and collected, kind of like that iceberg. You see 10% of the iceberg above the water, 90% is below it. It's a mess. The duck on the pond. Oh, pretty duck underneath. He's paddling his ass off. Sorry for the word, but you don't see everything. I was in a spot where I was trying to be externally all together, internally. I was a mess. I'm a mess. But I figured out quick that, you know what? I'm going to stay a mess till I figure this is not about me. And I found out through my sobriety and through a lot of other things in life that I'm best served when I'm of service to others. My biggest encouragement this whole thing today, guys, I have no idea what role you're playing. Some of you play a bigger role than I have for the past 18 years. Some of you may be, because I know a couple husbands that their wives do most of the outside work for the family, and they have become stay-at-home dads, and they are the ones performing the duties. I've seen it both ways. My encouragement for you, though, is if you're less than and you're not the best dad you can be right now, it's just time to stop. It's time to put your big boy pants on and get in the game with your wife and the rest of your family and show up. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever been asked to do, and it's going to be one of the most meaningful. Even at times you don't think that from the kid's perspective, the kid with Prader-Willi, but from your wife's perspective. If you're separated, it's another story. I've got friends that are walking that trail, and they've shared with me how they've battled that and worked through that. We are a community. We are men that need to lock arms and encourage one another and share experience, strength, and hope. Share the successes, share the failures, be transparent and grow together. Nobody's got all the answers. Nobody's got this thing nailed. The perfect game plan. Matter of fact, what Mike Tyson used to say, everybody's got a game plan until they get hit in the mouth. Everybody's got a plan A till you get hit in the mouth. Well, we got hit in the mouth. We had to come up with a plan B. Since then, 18 years later, we've had plan C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. We've hit Z and started over again. And that's been part of the journey. Actually, there's days that's fun when you got to pivot and you got to make something up. You got to go in another direction. So my question for me today was, what kind of dad am I right now, 18 years in? I've learned a lot. I've also learned I still have a lot to learn. And I also have learned that I'm not perfect. I am flawed. I do get angry. I do get frustrated. I channel my anger and frustration better now than ever before. Very rarely does Maddie see it now, where she used to see it before. As we walk through this share together today, if you've got questions, go to the chat room. If you've got questions, make sure you get them out to me. There's going to be time later, as Brian said, because I want to provide feedback. I want to hear your voice. I'll look forward to seeing your faces when you got a question. Again, I am no expert. I have outsourced information. I have gone to counseling. We went to family counseling. We've been shown favors, so we can probably do some things maybe not every family can do, but what you can do, try and do it. If there's social services to pick up for yourself, your health is healthy for your family. You finding balance in all of this is healthy for your family. You finding a way to show up for your wife, even though you work and you're gone out of the house, is healthy for your family. I've known Carla 28 years. I've been out of the house 2 weeks out of every month for 28 years, excluding the last 20 months. Remember, Maddie said I got fired, then retired? Since November 1, I should say October 1, 2019, I was fired the day before. I took 6 months to figure out I was going to retire. And since then, I've been at home all but maybe 2 weeks in 20 months. I went from a dad being around half the time to a dad around all the time. Can you imagine the complications I've caused with that? Anybody have a dog or a pet? I mean, I was like a young puppy for the first 3 or 4 months. 1 minute I'm licking your face, the next minute I'm peeing in a corner, the next minute they've locked me in a room to keep me away from everybody, the next minute I'm outside. I had to figure all that out. What I've seen in 20 months, I got to see everything I'd missed those 2 weeks away every month. What my daughter was like, what my wife went through, what my son had to deal with, what my oldest daughter would deal with when she came back. So it's been a tremendous learning opportunity. I don't have all the answers. I'm going to share some things that have worked. I'm going to share some thoughts. But to start with, again, guys, this isn't about us. This is a way for us to figure out how we can best support our child with Prader-Willi syndrome, our wife, and our other siblings, if there's other siblings in the house, because they need their space and time as well, man. It's hard, but we can do it. You can do it. I'm an idiot, and I've done it. I've gotten better at it. If I graded myself at the beginning on this 1 to 10 scale, obviously, my son said it best to me, I don't know, 8 years ago. He took up karate. And the big day, Dad, we're going to get some equipment today. Okay. Christian comes home. I go, what'd you get? He goes, we got a robe. I go, awesome. He goes, Dad, they call it an obi. OBI, Dad. I'm learning Japanese as well as learning karate. So I got a robe. I got an obi. And he put it on. He starts throwing moves. And I go, you're gonna hurt yourself if you don't get that thing closed. It can't just hang up. He goes, oh yeah. They gave me a belt. I go, cool, because I know what's next. I've heard of a white belt. In my mind, I was 55 at that time. Supposed to be mature, supposed to be grown up, supposed to be smart, right? I'm thinking, he's got a white belt. It means he knows nothing. It's a white belt. Christian goes, Dad, they gave me the white belt. It means I get to learn everything. I can be a lifelong learner. Mic drop. I'm thinking, you are an idiot, Clint. You have this expectation. Your son, and he gives you that. Wow, lifelong learner. And then I thought, wow, Maddie, she's 10 at the time, lifelong learner. I got more to learn with that. So my encouragement is wherever you are right now, you get a chance to be better tomorrow and have one good day at a time. And I used to tell my players, their problem many times would be they wanted to be great. I want to be a great player. And I said, well, be good for a long time and you'll be great. I used to tell Tony Gwynn, you're not that good. You've just been hot for 17 years. Tony Gwynn is a Hall of Fame hitter, one of the best hitters that ever played the game. But he used to laugh out loud. He goes, nobody's ever told me that I've been hot for 17 years. I said, yeah, you're not that good. You've just been hot for 17 years. I'm encouraging us, Dad, let's get hot together. There's days we're going to be cold. Well, every day is a new day, a new opportunity. This isn't about what we've lost. This is about where we are, what we found, and what we have an opportunity to gain. And the reality of it is, it's not going away. We can't stick our head in the sand and can't turn your back on it. It's time to show up and go. So the smallest package in the world is a man wrapped up in himself. And that was me for a long time. So guys, let's unwrap ourselves today. And let's become new packages for our family. You want to know some other jackass mentality that I learned as a dad, as a man? This was a statement I used to hang my head on. I got myself into this mess, I'll get myself out. Brilliant. The same guy that dug the hole, I'm going to trust that guy to get me out of the hole. I think Will Rogers said, when you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. So it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. Because some of you, that's right where you're at today. That's human. However, we got to move. We got to get some action. We just don't sit there. There's a way out. You can provide incredible courage for your family. You can provide incredible support for your family. You can provide incredible leadership for your family. Or not. We create a wake wherever we go as men. A positive wake or a negative wake. It's up to us to decide what kind of wake we create. And truly asking for help it's a sign of strength and it's a sign of maturity. And I didn't have enough of that early on. At the age of 40, I went through male menopause. I don't know if that's a thing, but that's what I called it. I finally started to figure some things out at the age of 40. And it's way too late. It wasn't a new young girlfriend or a Harley Davidson. I started to get life right. I just started to dealing with what I needed to deal with in the reality of the situation I was in. But there's three areas I want to walk us through today as dads. And some of us have been in all three. Some of us maybe been in two or three, and some of us are in the first one. The first one is establishing trust within the family unit. And basically, you're a rookie. You're a newbie. You're a white belt. You know, if you've got a youngster that's just been born, 1, 2, 3 years old, Brian, you're right on the cusp, 4.5. You're a white belt. Be a lifelong learner. How do you earn trust within the family as the dad? You know, you show up. You become dependable. You become consistent. We have a term that we use in our clubhouse, be where your feet are. A friend of mine in Pennsylvania is a coach of coaches, spends time with a lot of the big name coaches. Saban, Calipari. This guy's name's Dr. Kevin Elko. And he came to spring training. For some reason, he wanted to spend some time with Clint Hurdle. But I got him to talk to our staff and our team. He talked about being where your feet are. And truly, this might have been my biggest violation as a father early on. When I was home, I was probably thinking about a lineup. When I was home, I was probably thinking about something that happened. When I was home, I wasn't home. I was home physically, but I wasn't home mentally. And I wasn't engaged the way I needed to be engaged with the routine of the day, the rhythm of the day, the parameters of the day. As we all find out with Prader-Willi kids, routines are huge. Structure is huge. You want to disconnect? You want chaos? Switch their day up. Blow their day up. Tell them that they can go somewhere and then tell them they can't an hour later. I mean, chaos. And I found by being where my feet were, I had a chance to at least be the best dad I could be when I was home. I used my ears and my eyes better. And I used my voice as a third option. Because many times I've been that guy that I couldn't wait for you to shut up so I could talk and share more genius with you. Whether it was my wife, my kids, or whoever. I needed to be a better learner. I needed to be a better observer. And our endocrinologist early on told us that if you will watch Maddie and you will listen to Maddie, she will tell you what she needs and when she needs it. And then he goes, and you know what? There's a caveat to that. If you will listen to your wife and watch your wife, she will tell you exactly what she needs and when she needs it. You get clues all day long if you're paying attention. If you're not paying attention, you miss clues all day long. I missed clues for a long time. I'm worried about what we're going to do with Bonds in the 5th inning at 9 o'clock in the morning. You know, are we going to walk him? Are we going to try and pitch to him? Are we crazy? You know, that's where my mind would go. And it was so unfair to my wife, to my kids. But we earn trust, I think, by showing up and being dependable, by being accountable and being responsible. Those are words, and people, oh, that's a cliche. No, it's not. Not when you do it. Not when you prove to do it, not when you model the behavior that you want your family to have. When you model that and they see that in action every day, what do you gravitate to as a man? What men do you listen to? What women do you listen to, and why? What electrocutes you in a good way? Is it integrity? Is it honesty? Is it truth telling? Or is it stuff? Is it shiny objects? Is it people that spin good tales? Or is it guys that roll their sleeves up and go to work full of grit, full of determination, got guts? I don't know. I just know what we focus on, we get more of. And when we can represent better at home, it's amazing what your son ends up doing, what your other daughter ends up doing, what your wife sees you doing. And then Kylie will finally go, for the love of God, I think he's onto it. He's finally getting it. Oh my God, I'm getting some help here. Hallelujah. I think there was times my wife was looking forward to me leaving the house for a road trip just so I'd get out of the way. And she could get back to a rhythm and a routine and border, you know, they had boundaries and they had guidelines that worked for them every day. Rather than me coming back and throwing a monkey wrench in. And when I came home, guys, I didn't try and manage the home life. I learned that one a long time ago. As I said, I've been married 3 times. I've learned a lot what doesn't work in life and in relationships. I come home, I just try and fit in, but my fitting in still wasn't very functional. It wasn't, I didn't take ownership of Prader-Willi syndrome. I just kind of thought it should kind of be the mom's thing. She's going to be there all the time. And I can remember one time my wife said, what if something happened to me tomorrow? What would happen to the kids? What do you mean something happened? Are you okay? Hey, wait a minute. Have you seen a doctor? Do we need to give you a checkup? Again, I didn't really hear it. Again, it was going to affect me. What do you mean if something happened to you tomorrow? She goes, Clint, I give shots every day. I do this every day. I count the calories. We got a journal. We got vitamins. We got medicine. We got dosages. I'm going to write it all down once. And that's up to you to own it. I need your help. This is wearing me out. You know, you're more than capable of helping 25 young men at the ball club and 8 coaches and all this, and you can't help 3 of us out at home. You know what we need as men, as much as anything, we need people in our lives to tell us the truth. We need truth tellers in our life, not bobbleheads. The bobbleheads have become a thing, haven't they? Every ballpark gives them out, this player, that player, sports, you get a bobblehead. What is the purpose of a bobblehead? Hit it. What does it do? I had coaches that were bobbleheads. I've had players that, oh yeah, Clint, you're right. Oh, you're great. There was one time just a few months ago, as I was talking to an organization, I was talking to an owner. And I said, hey, you know what's crazy about your setup here? And I speak truth to this guy. I love it. That's how much I love him. I tell him the truth. Not what he wants to hear. I said, you could go outside right now and say, hey, we just hired Clint Hurdle, and you'd have 6 of those 15 people that come out and go, good job. Hey, nice job. Way to go. I said, 2 weeks later, you go, Hurdle's showing up. He's a mess. I just fired Clint Hurdle. Those same 6 will come out and go, hey, way to go. Good job. That boy. I need people who are going to tell me the truth. Sometimes it's my son. Sometimes it's Maddie. Sometimes it's Carla. Sometimes it's a neighbor. Sometimes it's one of my buddies. So you earn trust by showing up. You build trust by being consistent. asking questions, taking ownership, being willing to fail. Part of my problem was I was afraid to make a mistake. My wife doesn't, she goes, there's nothing you can really do that's going to kill him unless you try and kill him. She goes, the medications are this, follow the medications. The shot is this. You know, I tried to play off the shot. I give the shot 80% of the time now. I give Maddie a shot. Still, I didn't want to give her the shot. It was probably 2 years I didn't give her a shot. How lame is that? And if you're one of those guys right now, I'm sorry, you're lame. If you're afraid of needles, get over it. They need a shot. What if something happened to your wife? Other crazy question my life. Carla asked me one time, she goes, are you ever going to be able to take Maddie on a road trip, just you and her? I'm like, what? Well, of course not. Why would I want to do that? You know, I'd be responsible for everything. She goes, yeah, that's where you need to get. Well, long story short, Maddie and I take road trips. I've taken Maddie on trips. I gave her the shot. I do all the things that Carla was doing for probably the first 2 or 3 years Maddie was alive. Reluctantly, I worked my way into it. So guys, I failed dramatically early on. And I had all the excuses. Can our wives trust us? How do we earn trust? How do we build trust? How do we keep trust? You keep trust by keep showing up. Sometimes it's by finding a way to give them 2 hours of a break. If you're a single parent, it's a different dynamic. I get it. But you can still earn trust. And I said, I've been divorced twice. I know this game. The best thing you can do for your kids is to love their mother, even when you don't love their mother. To be friendly with your mother if it's a situation where there's a separation or a divorce. To be copacetic if you can be. You don't think kids can feel the angst? You don't think Prader-Willi kids can feel the angst? Your other kids? The 2 greatest lessons I learned from Dr. Garage is the Prader-Willi kids pick up, the 2 biggest things they pick up tone of your voice and your body language. Every time you raise your voice to a Prader-Willi child, I'm not saying it does damage, it's not helping. Because the other thing I've learned over life, the person that yells, the person that gets the loudest is the person least in control. Have you ever seen me argue with an umpire? I found out I have 64 lifetime event ejections. They're talking about winning games here on this introduction. 64 lifetime ejections. I didn't think that number was that high. It's 14th all time in Major League Baseball. That's embarrassing. Maddie would freak out when I got thrown out. Carla would be like, oh, you did it again. I'm like, what? She goes, you get thrown out, Maddie gets thrown out. She freaks out. Is he ever going to manage again? Are they going to put him in jail? What's going to happen to Dad? He's in trouble. You know how the Prader-Willi kids' minds can go. But many times I'd go out there to yell, just to yell, verbally vomit on people. Have you ever verbally vomited at home? God knows our kids, Maddie verbally vomits on us at home. Maddie can be a verbal bully. There's people that have only seen one side of Maddie outside her house. God bless them. I said, good for you, because we live with Maddie. We know Maddie. There's sweet Maddie, and we call her Baddie. B-A-D-D-I-E is her evil twin sister, Baddie. There's Maddie and there's Baddie. We live with both. Truth be told, Maddie lives with both. There's a daddy and then there's a baddie. Her mom, not so much. She's like the Gwendolyn, the good witch, and the Wizard of Oz. Can they trust us? If you're a rookie, earn the trust. Do the work. Build the trust. Keep the trust. Actions are always stronger than words. Transparency and honesty. Be transparent. Be honest. Share what you feel. Don't do things to get them to stop crying or to stop fighting. That's called transactional parenting. We want transformational parenting. We want to pour into them. We want to help them change. We want to help them see another side of it. And sometimes, guys, it's just holding on until it gets over. And sometimes they need to be sent to their room. And sometimes when, the boundaries have been set and they violate boundaries, you know what we still do today? We take the phone away. And you'd think we're putting a nail in her eye. that's where it goes. It's kind of like riding that Bronco for 8 seconds. Sometimes it takes longer. And isn't the other beautiful thing you get to see is they can verbally vomit in your living room and all over everybody, and then they go up, you put them in timeout for an hour. Your wife's laying down, she's worn out, you're worn out, the other kids in the room are worn out, and they'll come down an hour later like nothing happened. Hey, I'm back, how are you? You think, what the Prader, what? This is another part. Well, you know what? Yeah, that's how they roll. All right, after our rookie period, I call it, we turn into veterans, which for me, being a veteran means sometimes I got just enough information to be dangerous. Personally, professionally, what are you dealing with to be the best dad that you can be? Do you have balance in your life? We would have our coaches, and I did it myself for years, put together a professional blueprint and a personal blueprint things I wanted to accomplish professionally and personally. And we actually did a drill where we cut down to 24 hours of our day and filled in the 24 hours of how much time we spent doing certain things. And if you want to do an interesting drill, do it for yourself and find out how much time you spend with yourself, how much balance you have personally versus professionally, how much time you watch TV, how much time you lollygag, how much time maybe you're selfish with your time, how much time do you actually spend with your wife? Just you and her time. Because that was a hard part for Carl and I. I mean, guys, we're going to talk about it all here. There was a time where I got really smart. I said, you know what? I'm an itinerary guy. The Franklin Daytimer was a stroke of genius for me. I get to write everything down. Now you got a phone. But I used to love to just be able to check it off. And if I forgot to write it down after I did it, I'd go back and write it in my Daytimer and then check it off. That's how jacked up I am. But I used to think, you know what? Let's schedule in sex at the end of the night. Yeah. Well, you want to talk about a fart in a diver's helmet? The end of the day, you don't think she's worn out? The end of the day, I come home, we might have just got beat 12-1. That's what I want to get all romantical. I mean, it was one of the dumbest things I ever did. I found out that spontaneity, we got to find a way to get some spontaneity. We got to find a way to find some time for us. Some of you guys might be uncomfortable talking about it. I was too for a long time, but I found a way through that in a way my wife needs to be touched. And not just giving her a pat on the back or a smack on the nice going, honey, good job. You had a good day. No, she needs to be touched. Sometimes it's being touched mentally, sometimes it's being touched physically. Those are all touches. Date nights became critical for us. We found a sitter. We're fortunate. We've been shown favor. We had a nanny, a sitter that turned into a nanny that now is an extension of our family. Alex has been with us 10 years. Not everybody has that. I get it. If you're the dad, hunt somebody to watch your kids for 2 hours a night or 3 hours a night if you haven't. Just give your wife some time. If you can do it. If you can't do it, try and find a way to do it. Don't be the oh no dad. And what I mean by that is, can you imagine? I know my wife did at times. I'd come home off the road trip, she'd drop because, oh no, he's home. You ever have a coach in your life that every time that coach started walking to you, you dropped your head, like, oh God, here comes that coach. I don't do anything right. You can't be the weekend warrior dad either. Happy time, happy hour dad. Uncle Buck, remember the movie? It's all craps and giggles with dad's home. Oh, here we go, Maddie knows she's going to get a sucker with dad or get a lollipop or something. Dad's going to break some kind of rule. He's going to enable some way. Every time I enabled or lowered the bar, I lowered the bar for everybody in the family, especially my wife. I needed to have the same rules and regulations my wife had. I needed to follow. It'd be like you working in an organization and you moving up a level, and it's like a completely different team or a completely different organization. You want the continuity in the house, inside the house, as well as outside the house. And whether you get together and cooperate on the rules, the guidelines that you're going to set, and both follow. You can't be the weakest link. These kids have an innate ability to find the weakest link. They're going to hunt it day in, day out. Maddie will go on the phone. She'll meet a new person. First thing she asks for is their phone number. You want to know why? Because she's going to ask him, hey, would you send me a Starbucks gift card? We have locks on everything here. Maddie's not a voracious food seeker, but she hunts food. She'll steal food out of the cupboard. But she is meticulous at trying to get gift cards from everybody she can get a phone number from. I had a buddy, one of our family friends, girl I love. She's got a new boyfriend. His name's Jordan. Maddie met Jordan on vacation. Jordan didn't know the game. He gives Maddie his number. I talked to Jordan because I found out Maddie's got his number. I go, she's had your number 2 weeks. How many times she texted him? He goes, 37. I go, wow, you're lucky. That's not that many. He started laughing. I go, I'm serious. She's nuts. She's got your number. I go, what'd she ask for? He goes, gift cards. She's asked me to send her. I go, don't. I had to start paying attention. I'm going through this new process now since I've been home. It's my duty to go through her phone and see what's appropriate, what's not. You know, I left that to my wife all the time. Come on, Carl, I don't, you know, I made up my home. Oh, Carl, it's like going in a lady's purse. I don't go in my wife's purse. I don't want to go on her phone. No. So it's just another task you hand to your wife. Let her do it. At the end of the night, let her, you know, spend an hour going through the phone looking for stuff because they're going to find it. They have other friends they find it from. There's Prader-Willi chat groups out there. Maddie's on a streaming line that we got to clean. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good. It does give her value, it gives her interaction. But at the same time, you know, we've got to get off of that. Just enough information to be dangerous. God doesn't make any junk. And can you take a trip with your daughter, your son on your own, man? You know, at the end, I hope we all search to be pros. You know, servant leadership is being a pro, being there for others. Why do you need to get better? Because you need to help the family out. How do I get better? By asking questions, by seeking out help, talking to other dads that have been there, understanding what a want to is versus a have to versus a get to. I get to do things with my daughter. I don't have to do things with my daughter. That just frames it up better for me. Have to, that's a task, that's a chore. Want to, I want to do things with her. I get to do things with her. Unconditional love. Maddie has put us in a place where I don't think Carl and I ever could have got to on our own. We've had to figure some things out. We've had to rely upon it. We do love each other unconditionally now. Carla was not my best friend when we married. And that was my third marriage. She is my best friend now and has been for quite some time. It's important that we got there, that I got there. You got to find time for the other children. You get to. If there's other children in your family, it can't just all revolve around your Maddie. I've got a 16-year-old boy, Christian. He needs time. He needs time with dad. He needs time with mom. He needs time with everybody, but he needs time in his space. And sometimes they get overlooked. And trust me, he's gone through counseling. If you don't think your other kids have, maybe they haven't been verbally bullied like Maddie has, Christian. You know, one of the things I love to hear is, oh, well, that happens between all brothers and sisters. I just want to go, stop it. You don't know. Prader-Willi kids, oh, they get their teeth into something they don't stop. And Maddie can pick. And Maddie, someday she can't tie her shoes, and the same day she can win a debate with me. I mean, the things that she's smart about, the things that she's not, it's crazy sometimes. But she can pick at her brother and drive him crazy, or it's not healthy. And we got to find ways to help him stay healthy. We're closing in. And I want to leave time for questions.
Yeah.
But on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you today? Self-evaluation. And I would encourage you, write a number down. And then if you got guts and nuts, go ask your wife where you are and see what grade she gives you. And don't take it personal. Just figure it out. I think I'm this. She thinks I'm that. 0 to 10. Why wouldn't we want to be a 10? I used to ask my players those questions from time to time. Where do you think you are on this? Your preparation, this, and they go 7, 8. I go, how come it's not a 10? What's holding you back? I'm just here to encourage. I'm not here to browbeat and say you're no good. I just know I can get better, and I know that I've gotten better because I wanted to get better. And I didn't want my wife to be worn out and tired all the time. And I wanted my son to have a sense of living and enjoyment as well. That's why I needed to get better. I needed to become more active and needed to own it more. The one thing we do with our family all the time, I should say monthly, I talk to my wife, I talk to Maddie, and I talk to Chris. What do I need to stop doing? The next question is, what do I need to start doing? And the last question is, what do I need to do more of to help around here? Guys, I'm just here to encourage you. I've made more than my fair share of mistakes, but I'm learning and I'm getting better. And we're at our best when we lock arms together and admit that we're human, and when we can learn from one another and we can help support one another. That's what I got for you today. I'm finished. Brian, if we can open up the chat room, whatever you want to do, some questions.
Yeah, Clint, I wish we had another hour. I think I could sit here. I mean, that's just absolutely amazing. And it's awesome to hear your perspective. Obviously, being on kind of the other end, we're starting out Paxton's. We're maybe late in our rookie season with Paxton, still certainly getting started. But I know I see a hand up, so maybe we'll jump to that. Is it Dina Sullivan? If you want to unmute yourself, you go ahead and ask a question. I'm assuming maybe you meant, if you didn't mean to raise your hand, no worries, because I do have a question. Go ahead.
Ask him the question. Hi, I wanted to ask how you handle like things that you ask to do and they're not done, like cleaning after yourself, brushing your teeth every day in the morning, taking a shower. If they don't do it, what do you do? What's the best strategies to use?
No, Dina, that's great. That's great, because one of the things that Maddie's not good at, probably one of her lower level things, is self-hygiene. It's maddening for my wife.
Same problem.
It can be maddening for us. We say, here are your 3 responsibilities at night. It's to brush your teeth, to shampoo within 20 minutes, because Maddie was pretty good at taking a 2-hour shower back in the day. And then if you didn't, we would take away phone time, because that's the biggest thing. Whatever they're most passionate about, that's what we would challenge them with. I'm losing time with that activity. That's what we do.
I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry.
So you take things away? I couldn't hear you.
Yes,
take things away?
We would take things away. We would take away her phone for, say, your phone. You lose your phone for an hour or 2 tomorrow. You lose phone time. Or you lose playtime with the dog. She loves to spend time with the dogs after that. But number 1, it's phone time. We would take away phone time. No phone in the morning. We would give her 3 responsibilities for cleaning. We give her every night, still to this day. Brush your teeth, wash your hair, use your washcloth. Some days we'll go, man, did you use a washcloth? Yes, I did. You go in her bathroom, the washcloth is dry. She'll lie right to your face. We've all experienced that.
Right, exactly.
So then we say, okay, we got a dry washcloth. You lose your phone tomorrow morning.
Right, and they lie a lot too.
Yes. Yes, they do. Unfortunately, I think I used to also. So I've tried to clean my act up.
Thanks for the question, Dina. I don't see other hands up, but I do have a question. And maybe I'm assuming a lot of folks on this call are probably, in the beginning stages of Prader-Willi. At least there's certainly a handful of folks that have, younger kids, newborn, couple years old. I mean, you were obviously at that point at one stage of your progression here with Prader-Willi syndrome and your introduction to it. What in your mind stands out as just really an unexpected blessing, right? I mean, something like you could not even see as a possibility for your daughter down the road that has been realized. Is there anything along those veins that you'd like to share?
No, early on, one of our greatest reliefs was, we went through all the therapies, physical therapy, gross motor skill therapy, fine motor skill therapy, occupational therapy. when we put her into water, it gave her such an incredible freedom. Maddie didn't walk till she was 19 months. She didn't run till she was 4 years old. She never felt secure. Equine therapy was good. Again, we were fortunate we could try that. But when we got her in water, the freedom water gave her, you could just see her whole demeanor. It was like, oh my God, I'm in water. I don't have to worry about falling. There's no, I'm floating. And then she found out she could swim. It was a 10-year run where anywhere time we could get close to water, we threw her in water. We put her in water. She loved water, and it made the whole family happy. I would get in with her, or we gave her lessons and whatever, different opportunities. But water was a big one for us early on.
I don't know how to raise my hand, and I'm not sure if my audio works.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, my name's Tim. I have identical twin boys who are 29 years old with Prader-Willi. So I've been working with this for quite some time. I caught your last lecture as well, and I found it very helpful. So I appreciate that. I can just reiterate that we did equine, we did Special Olympics, been doing it for years. We have a community that has a special needs group that does different sports throughout the year, basketball, bowling, swimming. We've done it all. And I think one of the things that I would reiterate is, for folks, we didn't get a diagnosis till they were 6 years old. So we went 6 years without knowing anything about, they weren't diagnosed. We didn't know what was wrong, or how to deal with it, or who to ask, or any of that sort of thing. So it was a really tough first 6 years. Since then, I think one of the things that I've learned is they will surprise you. They will surprise you at what they are able to do. At 29, my boys are about 8 years old cognitively. They still lie, they still manipulate, and everything is driven around, how am I going to get the next snack, and what's it going to be, and when's it going to be? And, positive reinforcement works, except that at 29, there's a lot of things they don't care if you take away from them anymore. They're just, they've got video games, TVs, phones, tablets, PCs. They're on Zoom all day with their adult programs at the moment because of the COVID. That's made things a little more difficult the last year and a half, because they are in day programs when there's not COVID. I live on the West Coast and everything's still pretty much shut down. So they do get better. They do surprise you. They mature, even though they still have the same behavior drivers, food and whatever. They still have meltdowns at 29. They're twin boys. They pick at each other. They both have Prader-Willi, and they pick at each other. They compete with each other constantly. They throw each other under the bus all the time. I'm better than he is, so I should get something that he's not getting, or he got this, how come I'm not getting this? So that's kind of a different challenge. But swimming was a big deal for them. It really helped their confidence level, because they did Special Olympics swimming. So they were gaining confidence, the first time they made it all the way across the pool. Then they were getting competitive, saying, hey, you know what, if I get there first, I get a medal, and everybody claps and everybody's, but they constantly seek approval. That seems to be the one thing I noticed from both of them. They constantly seek approval and appreciation from all the adults around them. And that doesn't change. So I use that a little bit to motivate them to do things. Hey, I'm proud of you. I love you, and you're you've grown into a big man like daddy. Of course, again, they're 29 years old. So that helps motivate them to do the short list of chores or things that we give them to do. Our nighttime is brush your teeth, take your pills, and get ready for bed. So
Thank you. I don't mean to cut you off, but we're right at 12:30. So
yeah, and yeah, but I just wanted to say thank you, and everything sounds so familiar even after 29 years. You'll notice that there's not a lot of changes.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and thank you so much as well. This has been just an amazing experience. I wish we had another hour to go because I could listen to Clint at least for another hour, probably more. Clint, I want to thank you for the time and all of the folks attending today. So much appreciation for taking the time out of your day as well. Just a couple of reminders to make sure there is a survey to complete on this session as well, or on overall thing, and then make sure you're attending future sessions as well. I think there's a little bit of a break right now. I did in the chat, I threw in Clint's contact, so if you have some more confidential type questions, feel free to message him as well. And appreciate everybody joining today. Clint, thank you again so much. This has just been a great experience and something certainly I'll remember. I wrote down a lot of one-liners, so thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You all have a great day and take care. Thank you.